Back to the subject. Let us be exact and very plain about it. Anxiety does not defeat you by arriving. It defeats you when you react to its appearance. The thought, in and of itself, has no authority. The sensation, the fluttering in the chest, the image on the screen of your mind, none of that has command over you unless you kneel to it by reaction. You see? Do you see that? The thought is not the power, the reaction is the consent. Take no thought for your life, said the Master, which is not a call to neglect, but a revelation that thought, even anxious thought, does not structure your being and can never be your law. Now, the world likes a good fight in the head. They speak of a battle of the mind, and so they take up swords of argument, shields of affirmation, strategies of self-talk, and engage the dragon with hotter thoughts. But hear me, the trap is not that a feeling shows up. The trap is that you plunge into it as if you were conscripted. The moment you fight, you have dignified it. You have said you are a power to be wrestled. You have placed yourself on the field, taken sides, and thereby proclaimed two powers. Be still and know that I am God. Not argue and know, not conquer and know. Be still. That stillness is not apathy, no. It is refusal to recognize any other law. So we will conduct an experiment together through this very hour. And then through the days that follow, we will let a disturbing thought arise. We will allow it to pass across the surface of awareness, and we will not touch it. We will not call it friend. We will not call it enemy. And we will not organize a tribunal to judge it. No theater. No war. If you need a word to stabilize you, take this one. It is I. Be not afraid. And then do not proceed to argue with the sea or beg the wind to be quiet. Rest where that it is speaks. This is not passivity, this is principle. The middle path is not a mood, it is a position. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. You see, the moment you love it or hate it, you have become its subject, and it will lead you. Hear this, and let it nerve your practice. Your imprisonment is not a thought. Your imprisonment is the reaction that grants it jurisdiction. Reaction is consent. Reaction is worship. When you react, you bow. And if you bow to a phantom, you have given a ghost the seat of a king. We will not do that. We will stand in the one. I and the Father are one. And from there we may watch waves come, waves go, and remain unmoved. That unmoved is not hard or brittle. It is supple and alive with presence. God is not in the thought. God is not a thought. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is, and therefore nobody, by taking thought, will come to God. But in the refusal to react, you make room for what cannot be defined to reveal itself as peace, as order, as enough. Let me say it a second way so you cannot miss it. You are not the thinker of the next anxious sentence. You are the awareness in which it tries to speak. If you rise to shout it down, you have mistaken your post. If you sink to indulge it, you have made it your shepherd. Do neither. No man can serve two masters. Serve the I that is before thought, and let the other chatter be wind in a field that needs no command from you to be a field. All right? For our work now, and for whatever thought we'll try to visit while we speak, the experiment is simple. Let it come. Do not name it. Do not nurse it. Do not fight it. And do not ask God to get rid of it. Don't turn to God for anything, not even to change a mood. We are not here to change appearances. We are here to withdraw our consent from them. In that withdrawal, in that sacred non-reaction, a new center is felt, not a new thought, a new position. And from that middle path, the evidence will alter of itself or not. Either way, your freedom has already begun because you did not kneel. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, not as argument, not as conquest, but as the quiet that has no opposite. Now, let us be very exact about this word we use so freely, appearance. In our work, an appearance is not a fact. It is a presentation to the senses that begs for judgment, defense, or management. It knocks on the door of sight, sound, sensation, and says, decide about me quickly, take a side, fix me or fear me. The Master did not leave us without language for this. He said, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. What is righteous judgment here? It is not a clever analysis. It is the refusal to accept the sight or the sound as law, cause, or identity. You see, an appearance is an audition. You are not obliged to cast it as the star of your life. And anxiety, let us take that one plainly, is an appearance that masquerades as a commander. It says, do something now, figure it out now, protect yourself now, reach for the phone, the pill, the spreadsheet, the story. It is the drumbeat of emergency. It is the whisper in the night, what if? And the shout in the morning, you must. But hear the truth under the noise. There is no must in God. Be not afraid, it is I. When it is stands present, compulsion dissolves into presence, and you learn, perhaps for the first time, that urgency was never the voice of spirit. Spirit never hurries and never delays. Anxiety hurries and delays by turns because its only power is to get you to enter the case humanly. So we lay down our first prohibition, and it is not cruel, it is merciful. Never enter the case humanly. Never start advising yourself, diagnosing yourself, forecasting outcomes, rehearsing conversations, or bargaining with shadows. The moment you do, you have accepted a jurisdiction other than God. You have implicitly said there are two powers, the power of the appearance and the power of your effort to outmaneuver it. And then you will tire, and the appearance will seem to grow because you have been kneeling to it with attention. No man can serve two masters. The instant you begin to serve the master of emergency, you have turned your back on. It is I. And then, of course, the sea looks larger and the boat smaller. Now, I must say this so you will not mistake it. Non-reaction is not passivity. It is not indifference. It is not a lazy theater of whatever will be, will be. Non-reaction is principled refusal to treat an appearance as law, as cause, as identity. It is standing in the middle path where we neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance, where we do not solicit it, do not flee it, and do not arm wrestle it. It is the art of letting the wind blow and not taking a vote about the wind. When a letter arrives saying the account is low, when the body delivers a twinge, when a dear one's voice trembles with accusation, non-reaction does not say, ignore your duties. No. It says, before any doing, withdraw your consent from the premise that this letter, this twinge, this voice is your law or your life. From that refusal, action, if any action is required, will be given, not manufactured. It will be clean, free of the fever of self-preservation. All right. Let me bring this into your kitchen, into your office, into the night. You think about bills or test results. Anxiety knocks and says, open, let me in. Let us make a plan. Let us argue with the doctor. Let us pre-write the apology or the defense. Let us check the news again. You smile inwardly, not mocking, simply unmoved, and answer, I will not enter the case humanly. Then what? You do not scramble to replace the anxious sentence with a brighter one. You do not call God in as a paramedic. Don't turn to God for anything. God is not a power brought to bear on a second power. God is, and in that is the supposed opposite of harmony, has no mate, no foothold, no law. If appearances, then, are not orders, what are they? In most instances they are but the fog of universal belief rolling across the field. Do not chase fog with a sword. Stand still in principle. Be still and know that I am God. In the stillness, the fog thins or does not. Either way, your field remains a field. We will take up this matter of universality next, because when you recognize that much of what knocks at your door is not personal property at all, you will smile more quickly and bow less often. For tonight, let this be enough. The first freedom is refusal. Refuse the invitation to hurry. Refuse the summons to advise yourself. Refuse the theater. And in that refusal you will hear not a theory, but a presence saying, "Fear not," and the command that once sounded so loud will be exposed as an echo looking for a wall. Now we must say something that frees you from a lifelong habit of personalization. This that calls itself anxiety, this that whispers, "I am your fear, I am your danger, I am your emergency," has nothing to do with you as a person. It is not your property. It is a universal belief claiming presence. You see, on the whole, the race accepts certain propositions as self-evident. That contagion travels by law and must have you if you are near enough, that a draft causes a cold, that money is substance and therefore its absence is lack of life, that your father worried, and so naturally worry is your bloodline. These are not laws. These are beliefs floating like weather across the field of humanity, and sometimes across your field. If you grant them personal status, my fear, my dread, my family's weakness, you have given your name to what never had identity. Let us be ordinary and exact. In winter, a child is told, "Put on a hat or you'll catch cold." In a factory, a notice goes up, "There's a bug going around." At home, someone says, "In our family, we always have trouble with nerves." Or, "At our age, this is to be expected." These are the creeds of universal belief. Do you see that? They are not statements of God, not statements of law. Infection and contagion have no law to support them. There is only one power. The moment you begin to notice that these thoughts are not yours, but are simply the fog of accepted belief seeking a host, you have taken a giant step. You have removed the crown from a rumor. The cleverness of belief is in its language. It rarely steps up and says, "A belief knocks." No, it speaks in the first person. "I am in danger. I will lose my job. I can't breathe. I must fix this or be ruined." Now what has happened? A universal suggestion has borrowed your pronoun to secure your reaction. And reaction, as we have said, is consent. No man can serve two masters. The instant you take that first-person bait and begin to serve it with argument, with self-pity, with planning, with protest, you have signed employment papers with a lie. That is all it wanted, your attention, your fear, your worship. But if instead you stand where the Master stood, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment, and recognize it as a belief presenting itself without law, it has no instrument, no voice, no leverage. We need a simple line we can meet at the door with, and here it is. This is not my thought. It is a belief presenting itself without law, without power. Say it softly, not as a spell, but as a correction of identity. This is not my thought. In that sentence, you do two things at once. You refuse the theft of your I, and you withdraw the only thing that ever armed the belief of your consent. Then be still. Don't start a new campaign of better thoughts to counter the old thought. Don't decorate the belief with scriptures or cut it with an aspirin of aphorisms. Be still. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, you discover something no belief can enter, an awareness not built of sentences. There, presence stands. And you will notice, if you are honest, that the so-called emergency has no authority to compel you when you do not feed it. All right, let me touch one more familiar hallway where universal belief likes to parade: human lineage. My mother fretted, my grandmother fretted, therefore I am condemned to a fretting mind. No, Christ is the only identity. Call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. When identity is Christ, heredity is dissolved as law and left merely a story. You may see the old story pass before you, the old phrases try to borrow your mouth, but the authority is gone because you have refused personal authorship. This has nothing to do with this person. This is a universal belief trying to become my master by wearing my name. No man can serve two masters. I withdraw my name. Now, a word of caution as we step forward. The moment you see the impersonal nature of fear, another temptation appears, and it is subtle. You will be tempted to take sides in your mind, to stage a civil war of good thoughts against bad thoughts, brighter affirmations against darker sentences. That, too, is the mind war that keeps the phantom alive. The belief does not care which side you take so long as you keep the theater open and the lights hot. Our work will not be to find a better army of thoughts. It will be to refuse sides altogether, to let the stage empty, and to rest in the one for whom there are no opponents. But first, let this be practiced today. When a sentence arrives in your mouth or your chest that says, I am in danger, meet it with, this is not my thought. It is a belief presenting itself without law, without power. And then be still long enough for it is I, be not afraid, to be felt as fact, not as concept. From there, the next step will be plain, and it will not be a fight. Back to the subject, and let us be exact about it, because this is where many have been misled by well-meant warfare sermons. The moment you make it a battle, you have already crowned the enemy with power. The instant you take up arms in your head, sharper affirmations, clever rebuttals, marching orders, you have conceded that there is something outside the one to be subdued by effort. Resist not evil, said the Master, and every time I repeat that, someone thinks it is weakness. No, it is revelation. To resist is to recognize. To recognize is to empower. To empower is to worship. Do you see that? When you resist a thought, your attention binds you to it. When you love a thought, your attention binds you to it. Whether you hate the sentence or court it, you are its subject because you are reacting. And reaction is the only rope it has. Let us take the paradox head on so that you cannot be tricked by it again. A fear rises. If you push on it, it grows teeth. If you pet it, it curls on your lap. In both cases, you are feeding it with the one food it needs, your divided allegiance. The mind war lives by sides. The suggestion does not care which side you take, only that you keep the theater open and the lights hot. One says, argue it down. Another says, entertain it and analyze its roots. Both are the same trap, two powers thinking. No man can serve two masters. In spirit, there are no sides. Christ is the only identity. When you are tempted to rank thoughts by friend and foe, pleasant and unpleasant, remember, you are not dealing with a good side and a bad side. You are dealing with the temptation to leave the one. All right. Bring me the scene. You know too well the late night bill, the twinge in the body, the memory that accuses. The old reflex asks, should I argue it down? No. Should I entertain it and see what it wants to teach me? No. Then what? Stand still. Be still and know that I am God. Not be numb, not be clever, be still. Put up again thy sword, he said to the disciple, eager to defend the holy with a blade. Every mental sword you raise to protect your peace announces that your peace is vulnerable. And if you announce that, you have made it so in your experience. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Holding your peace is not clenching your jaw. It is withholding your reaction. It is refusal. Now, Do not mistake standing still for the project of making your mind blank by strain. We are not achieving a condition. We are ceasing to confer a condition. Standing still is the unhooking of attention from the bait of appearance so that a split second, just a split second of silence may open where thought cannot go. In that instant, there is no courtroom, no plaintiff, no defense, no jury. There is presence. God is not mind. God is not even soul. Nobody knows what God is, and therefore we do not attempt to contact God by thinking truer thoughts at a louder volume. Don't turn to God for anything. Do not recruit God as a counterpower to smite a second power. God is not power set against power. God is. In the is, the opposite is without opposite, and there the suggestion has no perch. You will hear teachers say, fight the devil in your head, take authority, wrestle the serpent. Beloved, the serpent wants a wrestling match. It cannot live without your grip. Let it slide off the pair. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Let it come. Do not rise. Let it signal. Do not answer. Let it pass without verdict. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. Why nothing? Because there is no handle when there is no reaction. The handle is always your yes or your no, your embrace or your recoil. Our practice is to give it neither, and in that holy neutrality, which is not indifference but allegiance to principle, the whole theater closes for lack of audience. Try it in the next 5 minutes. A sentence will cross the screen. What if? Let it cross. Another will try flattery, but this hopeful idea is delicious. Let it pass. Neither is your life. Neither is your law. You are not improving the picture. You are refusing to enter it. And in that refusal, you will notice, often so quietly you could miss it, that a breath deeper than breath opens. No effort, a click, a stillness that was never earned, only uncovered. That is the doorway. We will speak of it further because the exit is not an argument. It is that split second in which you find yourself before thought and therefore free of its sides. For now, let this be our measure. Each time you are tempted to take a side, do nothing. Stand still long enough, for it is I. Be not afraid to be more than a sentence. Then you will see why the battle ends the moment you refuse to fight and refuse to feed. Now let us be very plain, because if you miss this, you will spend years polishing thoughts while remaining a servant to appearances. Faith, the degree of faith, is shown by your reaction, not by your best thought, not by the scripture you can quote at midnight, not by how beautifully you can phrase a truth. Your measure is your non-reaction when the appearance presents itself. By their fruits ye shall know them. And the first fruit here is quietness under pressure. Take no thought for your life, not as a slogan, but as the evidence that even when a sharp sentence pierces the room of your mind, you do not rise to serve it. Do you see that? Your non-reaction is the testimony. When you neither fear, love, nor hate the appearance, you are on the middle path. When you tighten, rush, and recruit arguments, you have left it. Now, what is reaction? Let us not spiritualize it so we cannot spot it. Reaction is the tightening in the belly, the breath you grab and hold, the rehearsal of conversations that have not yet occurred, the late-night spreadsheet of imagined outcomes, the planning that feels like salvation but tastes like panic, the self-condemnation that scolds you for not being spiritual enough to float above this. And mark this well, the spiritualizing with strain, where you hurl holy words at the problem, demand quick relief, and then check the clock to see if truth is working yet. All of that is reaction. It is worship of appearance in religious robes. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Holding your peace is not clutching your jaw while you fire verses at a shadow. Holding your peace is ceasing to treat the shadow as a power that requires your thunder. Temptation, then let us cleanse that word is not God leading you into trouble. Temptation is a test of allegiance presented by appearance to see whether you will consent to it as power. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment here is not a bright commentary. It is the refusal to bestow law on the sight or the sound. The tempter came to the master with offers, urgencies, demonstrations to be performed on demand, and the master would not enter the theater. Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. No exhibition, no proof on cue, no side taken. You see, the temptation was satisfied only by reaction, denied reaction. It had nothing. So here is a litmus you can use before this hour closes. Ask softly without hurry. Right now, am I trying to change the appearance, or am I letting God deal with it? If you find that you are negotiating, planning, pleading, timing, rehearsing, or even attempting to outshine the appearance with brighter propositions, you are trying to change it, treating it as power. Stop. Be still and know that I am God. Don't turn to God for anything, not even to make this wind lie down. Let God be God. Let presence be presence. Your part is the holy withholding of consent, the refusal to enter the case humanly. If instead, when you ask the question, you discover that you are not moving, no inner bargaining, no stopwatch on salvation, only a poised willingness to be still, then you are letting God deal with it, and your faith is measured right there. Do not use this measure as a cudgel against yourself. Self-condemnation is reaction too. Simply notice, yesterday you might have tightened for an hour before you remembered to be still. Today you notice in 10 minutes. Tomorrow in 1. Do not look at your demonstration day by day as if you were grading a crop. Let maturity bring to light. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. The heart is untroubled not by superior arguments, but by reduced reaction. That is your progress report. A bill arrives, you do not blanch. A twinge speaks, you do not hold your breath. A voice accuses, you do not build a defense. You stand. And in that standing you find that the prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in thee, because there is no handle, no consent, all right? If non-reaction is the measure, then we require not a theory but an exit, step by step, because the body has habits and the mind has customs, and they will knock again. We will begin where the master begins, with the refusal of emergency. Be not afraid, it is I. From there we will learn not to desire to change the appearance, and then we will come to that split second where thought cannot follow. But for today, let this be close at hand. When the knock sounds, do not open. When the sentence flashes, do not reply. When the urge to fix demands your oath, ask only, am I trying to change this, or am I letting God be God? And stand still long enough for the answer to dissolve the question. All right? The first step, and it must be first, because every other move depends on it, is this. Refuse the emergency. Anxiety's only siren is now. Fix this now. Decide now. Defend now. That drum is not the voice of spirit. It is the tap on your shoulder that says, enter the case humanly. Do not do it. Hear the master come across the water while the wind performs its theater and the boat hammers the waves. Be not afraid. It is I. Not comfort talk to tuck you in. A revelation that shifts attention from storm to presence. It is not, be not afraid. The storm will cease in 5 minutes. It is, be not afraid. It is, the authority is not in the promise of changed weather. The authority is in the one who stands before any weather. You see? If it is here, there is no emergency. Because emergencies require absence of wisdom, absence of supply, absence of life. Lo, I am with you always. Where I am, there is no absence. Now, let us meet the body honestly so that you are not surprised by it. The surge comes heat in the face, rush in the chest, the stomach makes a fist. Name it without bequeathing it your sovereignty. There is a sensation, there is a claim, there is an urge to react. That is all. Do not add theater, do not interpret the flutter as prophecy. Refuse to translate a bodily wave into a headline about your future. Imperatives now, and I mean them. Stop, stand still, do not run, do not fix, do not prophesy disaster. Do not open the door to self-advice. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Hold your peace. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Holding your peace is the holy withholding of consent, not the gritting of teeth while secretly feeding the storm with attention. Make it practical. The next time a knock in the chest arrives, take the first 10 seconds as consecrated ground, 10 seconds only. Say softly, with no strain, no emergency, "Be not afraid, it is I." Let the words point your gaze, not perform a magic. Do not check the clock. Do not scan your history for a reason why this is happening. Do not take your pulse. Do not open the bank app. Do not Google your symptoms. Each of those is a knee bow to appearance. Each is reactivity dressed as prudence. Never enter the case humanly. Do not call a committee meeting in your head. Do not fetch truth like a fire extinguisher to force a result. Don't turn to God for anything. God is not a counterpower to higher. God is, let presence be presence. Your refusal is your faith. If you practice this for 10 seconds, you will discover that a sliver of unoccupied space opens just a breath, a thimbleful of stillness. Do not rush to fill it. This is the enemy's second trick. If he cannot stampede you into action, he will tempt you to wallpaper the new silence with thoughts, bright thoughts, even holy thoughts. Resist even that. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance, including the appearance of a clever affirmation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still does not mean say something truer. It means refrain from placing anything between yourself and the I that is. That thimbleful of stillness is enough room for the next step to appear of itself. Do not make it appear. Let it. You will say, but what if the storm grows? It might seem to. Do not measure the waves. Faith is not proven by weather reports, but by your refusal to concede emergency status to an appearance. Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Not a scolding, a diagnosis. Fear feeds on hurry. Faith stands and withholds consent. This is our first rung, and it is sufficient for today. Refuse the emergency. When the knock sounds, do not open. When the drum beats now, answer with "it is." In that refusal, you will find that the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in you, because you have offered no handle, no verdict, no rush. A space remains. Keep it clean. We will not fill it with new thoughts. We will let it deepen until presence is not a sentence on your lips, but a quiet that stands where words cannot. All right, having refused the emergency, we take the next step, and it is sterner than the first because it reaches into a very holy habit of self-preservation. Do not desire to change the appearance. Never desire to change appearances. The moment you desire to change, you have confessed the appearance as power, as cause, as law, and then you begin bargaining. I will be quiet if only the wind shifts. I will trust if only the ache halts. I will believe if only the email turns friendly. That is not faith. That is negotiation with a shadow. No man can serve two masters. If you are desiring the picture to change, you are serving the picture, not the principle. Now, Do not mistake me. This is not resignation. This is not the limp whatever of indifference. This is righteous judgment. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment refuses to grant the sight or the sound any status as cause or reality. It is the discipline of letting the picture be a picture without making it a law. When you do not desire to change it, you are not approving it, you are refusing to bow. Desire to change is the bow. Non-desire is the withholding of worship. Do you see that? When the stomach knots and you say, if only this would stop, then I could rest, you have enthroned the knot as high priest of your peace. When the account dip appears and you say, if only it would rise, then I could be generous, you have named the ledger Jehovah, and then you will chase it, and then it will run. Bring it nearer. I'm trying to calm down. That sounds spiritual, doesn't it? But often it is only another form of reaction. Trying to calm down is an effort to force weather to obey your timing. It is still kneeling to the storm. Better to see through the storm than to tame it. Better to stand where the Master stood and say, be not afraid, it is I, while the wind still performs, than to buy peace at the price of worshiping the breeze. When you try to calm down, ask quietly, who is it that needs the picture to soften? The self that is taken aside, the self that believes its life is at the mercy of breath or balance. Christ is the only identity. Therefore, the inner posture becomes, Father, not my will, but thine be done. Not my picture, not my timetable, not my rescue conceived in advance. Let Christ's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let God have its perfect work. Let patience have her perfect work, says the apostle. And I will say it this way for our work. Let God have its perfect work. Do not hire God to paint over the scene you dislike. Don't turn to God for anything. God is not a counterpower to be applied to a second power. God is, and in that is, outcomes are not managed. Presence is recognized. Do not watch the picture like a weather vane and call that trust. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Let maturity bring to light. Stand where you have been placed. No emergency, no desire to alter the canvas, only the willingness to abide, while the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Make it practical. The next time that pulse of panic or that threatening email stands demanding tribute, answer without heat. I do not desire to change you. You are not my law. I withdraw my worship. Then stop. No side, no bargain, no stopwatch. Be still and know that I am God. If action is required in the human scene, it will be given cleanly and quietly after you have refused to deify the appearance. You will sense it as an unhurried step, not as a scramble. If no action is required, you will learn the art that terrifies the tempter, resting without theater while the picture spends itself. This is the gate to our next requirement. As long as you desire to change the appearance, you will keep the mind busy, manufacturing holy arguments to persuade the weather, and that very busyness bars the door to the only passage that liberates the split second of silence where thought cannot follow. Nobody, by taking thought, can contact God. There must come a click, an edgeless instant, when you are neither pushing nor pulling, when desire itself is laid on the altar, not my will, and in that altar silence, presence announces itself without words. We will go there next. For now, refuse the emergency, and then refuse the subtler impulse to make the picture different. In that twofold refusal, the prince of this world cometh and finds nothing to handle, and a stillness opens that is not a tactic but a truth, standing where you are. All right, now we come to the hinge on which all the rest swings, and it will offend the mind because it cannot be held by the mind. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. No amount of correct reasoning, no gold-polished affirmations, no clever stacking of scriptures produces the click. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. And because nobody knows what God is, stop trying to define your way out. Don't turn to God for anything, not even illumination, because that, too, assumes a God outside to be hired by your best phrase. God is. Be still long enough to let is be. Here is your micro practice, and do it as a kindness to your own heart. In the moment you feel the urge to explain, to account, to fit your problem inside a shining sentence, notice that urge and let it drop for one breath only. On the in-breath, make no petition. On the out-breath, let the shoulders fall and the tongue rest in the quiet of your mouth. No commentary, no promise, no stopwatch on heaven. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Let the earth of your body, the earth of your story, keep silence. Do not wait for a sensation to certify the silence. Waiting is thinking in disguise. Only refuse to furnish the room with words for the space of a single breath, and then perhaps another. If you ask, what shall I do in that second? You have missed it, because the doing is the delay. There will come, if you do not interfere, a split second of silence where thought cannot follow, an edgeless instant without commentary, without evaluation, without even the courtesy of a name, not blankness achieved by effort, not a trance, a simple absence of argument. Be still and know that I am God. The knowing there is not an idea glued to a verse. It is a felt without feeling, a presence without opposite. Call it the still small voice, if you like, though you will notice it is not a voice and it does not speak. It is the absence of theater, and that absence is fullness. Do not dress this in technique. Sit, stand, walk where you are is holy ground if you will not populate it with your improving. Simply abide for that one breath while the wave of mind passes. Neither push the wave nor pull it. Let it spend itself on the shore of a presence you did not create and therefore cannot lose. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Confidence in what? Not in your management, not in your ability to hold the thought. Confidence in the one before thought. This is the fasting the Master named. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting, a fasting from reaction, from words about God, from pulling on the curtain to see if the miracle has started. Forget all the truth we ever knew, just for this breath. Let the field lie fallow. Do not seed it with concept. Now, what changes when even a thimbleful of this silence is tasted? The identity from which you were reacting loosens its claim. The my mind that was scrambling for a handle is seen as only weather. The I that stands here is not the thinker of thoughts, but the life in which thought appears and passes. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. You do not adopt that as a motto. You discover it as a fact without speech. And then a remarkable poverty sets in, a holy poverty. You have no argument to defend, no side to take, no improvement to force, and out of that poverty a clean action may arise if required, unhurried, accurate, without self-congratulation. I do nothing of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. You see, the exit is not a better argument. It is this moment without argument in which presence is felt, not thought. And once felt even briefly, the next knock on the door will not find the old tenant at home. Now, let us say it in a way you cannot mistake. Reaction is personal identity defending itself. It is me protecting me from my thoughts, my future, my loss. All that drama is a one-man play with many costumes. A thought presents and immediately a claimant rises. My worry, my risk, my image, and the moment the claim is made, the defense is required. Who told thee that thou wast naked? Did a thought undress you, or did a claimant believe it? You see, the thought is only weather. The claimant is the umbrella salesman. If there were no self apart from God to be harmed or praised, to be diminished or enlarged, then what would the thought seize? On what would it fasten? The hook is always a separate self. Here is the pivot, and it is final. Christ is the only identity. Never believe in a selfhood apart from God. That belief is the tinder anxiety feeds on, the oxygen panic inhales. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God. Dead to what? Dead to the self that must manage, defend, and improve itself by taking sides in the mind. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Do not make that a license to think superior thoughts. God isn't mine. Nobody knows what God is. And the mind of Christ is not a bag of brilliant sentences, but the effortless identity of I am, without opposite, without hurry, without hunger for a result. All right. If Christ is my life, do not say it as a motto. Let it be discovered in silence. Then notice what occurs in the very moment a thought appears. Instead of my thought, it is a thought. Instead of my fear, it is a sensation passing in the field of awareness that I did not create and therefore do not have to police. The prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. Why nothing? Because there is no claimant to register offense or to demand tribute. You watch the weather, you do not sue the weather, you do not marry the sunshine or prosecute the rain. You stand, and in that standing, thought appears and passes without command over your attention because there is no personal throne for it to occupy. Let me be very practical. The email lands sharp and unfair, and at once the old reflex leaps. Defend your name. Which name? The name that must be guarded at all costs is always the personal one. I am of Paul, and I of Apollos, sect, side, self. Christ takes no side because Christ is the life of all. In the instant you rest in that, the heat in the chest loosens. You do not need to draft a rebuttal at midnight. If action is required, it will come clean and spare, like one accurate sentence in the morning, free of theater. Or it will not be required at all, and the storm will spend itself without a witness. Money? The balance drops and the reflex shouts, protect your future. Whose future? Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, what ye shall put on, not indifference identity. If Christ is my life, then supply is not a number, it is the activity of God as the life I am. You will find the same groceries arrive by check, by gift, by idea once the claimant steps down. Health, the body speaks a loud sentence, and the personal self tries to rescue itself by force. Instead, stand where we have been standing. No emergency, no desire to change the appearance, and now no separate self to be saved. I am the resurrection and the life. Let that be identity, not petition. Relationships, a word cuts and the claimant rallies the troops of memory and countercharge. Be willing, this is stern, to let even the personal bond rest in Christ. If harmony can only be purchased by defending a separate self, it is not harmony. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Sometimes the separation is very spiritual. Let's have it. Not as punishment, as refusal to worship a bond that feeds a frightened self. You see the through line? As long as you hold to my mind, you will keep taking sides, because a personal mind is built of sides, mine and yours, win and lose, safe and not safe. When identity shifts to Christ, sides dissolve. You are not made stupid or passive. You are made free of the compulsion to react. Then, if a step is given, it arises from stillness and returns to stillness. I do nothing of myself, and there is no aftertaste of self-congratulation or regret. Make a quiet rule for this hour. Each time you feel the me rise to defend or to decorate itself, stop no emergency and whisper, not as magic, but as recognition, not I, but Christ. Then refuse to change the appearance and enter the breath of silence where thought cannot follow. In that sequence, the claimant loses its chair, and with it the battle loses its stage. Abide in me, and I in you. Abide identity, not effort. From there we will go on to where this identity is tested, in the precise places where you feel most justified to react, and we will learn that even there, perhaps especially there, the one life requires no defense. All right, now let us come where the sandals meet the dust, because theory is easy until a particular face or figure demands your homage. Non-reaction is not learned in a monastery of ideas. It is learned where you are most certain you must react to survive. A report arrives, medical, stamped and certain, and at once the body writes headlines in your veins. A spouse's tone hardens at the sink, and old grievances rise like drafted soldiers. A bill drops through the slot, and the heart counts backwards from your future. A public embarrassment catches you on a stage you never asked for, and reputation rushes to its mirror. Each is an appearance seeking your reaction, nothing more. Do you see that? They are not orders, they are auditions. They play to see whether you will hire them as law. Now, the same law rules across domains. Never enter the case humanly. Never take sides in the mind. Don't label villains, and this is as important, don't appoint saints. Principle over personalities. You are not dealing with a good person versus a bad person, a kind doctor versus a cruel doctor, a generous creditor versus a greedy one. You are dealing with an appearance that would trap you into choosing a side, because once you choose, you have admitted a second power and the war is on. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment refuses the bait. It does not crown a hero or carve a devil. It returns to principle and lets Christ be the only identity in the room. Make it practical. The report, lay it on the table and lay your breath beside it. Say, without heat, I will not react to this appearance. I will let spiritual harmony reveal itself in God's way. Then refuse the emergency. No Google, no late-night symposium in your head, no rehearsed calls. Be still and know that I am God. If a step is to be taken, another appointment, a test, a change, it will arise cleanly from silence without terror's drum. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Hold it. The spouse's tone, here the temptation is sides. Your memory builds a case in seconds, and the tongue wishes to serve it. Stop. No sides. Christ is the only identity. Do not call them wrong. Do not call yourself right. Do not call a counselor in your skull to advise strategy. Stand in the inner room and let the heat pass. If a word is given, it will be a small word after silence, a soft answer, not a gesture of triumph. And if silence is given, stand there in dignity without punishment. Sometimes a separation is very spiritual. Let's have it if it is given from stillness, not seized by pride. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. Deny the self that must win the hour. The bill. Do not enthrone numerals as the governor of your peace. Take no thought for your life. Read it once, then place it out of the altar of panic and into the altar of God. Practical language now, I will not react to this appearance. I will let supply reveal itself as the activity of God where I am. Then refuse the theater, no doom spreadsheet, no anxious vows to work harder to prove worth. If an idea is given at dawn phone this one, accept that project, cancel that excess, you will know by the absence of hurry. Manna arrives as idea, as check, as gift, but it is hidden from the one who worships figures. Reputation. The public sting may be the purest test. You will want to defend your name. Which name? I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another. If Christ is your life, then a human name does not require litigation. Do not issue press releases in the mind. Do not enlist allies and whisper, stand, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord, not punishment, rectification without your theater. If an amending word is required, it will be given in season. If not, let the wave break without a rider. You will say, but if I don't react, nothing will change. That is the lie that sustains the whole carnival. Reaction doesn't change anything. Reaction feeds the appearance by confessing its power. Non-reaction is not laziness. It is the refusal to worship a second power. From that refusal, action when needed rises pure, unargued, and exact. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Let God have its perfect work. Do not look at your demonstration day by day. Stop timing your freedom by the weather. Put principle over personality in every field. Money, health, relationships, reputation. The same prayerless prayer serves. I will not react to this appearance. I will let spiritual harmony reveal itself in God's way. Then keep still long enough for the prince of this world to find no handle in you. And when he finds none, he cannot stay. All right? Having refused the emergency and refused to change the picture, we must come to the point that exposes our most pious temptation, outcome addiction. Wanting a particular result by a particular time is reaction dressed in white robes. It is bargaining with an image. I will trust if only this turns by Friday. That is not trust. That is worship of a calendar. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Let maturity bring to light. Let patience have her perfect work, says the apostle. And I say, let God have its perfect work. Do not hire God to improve the scene you prefer. Don't turn to God for anything. God is not a counterpower to coerce a better weather. God is. Our interest is not in making the appearance improve. Our interest is in the revelation of spiritual activity where we are. You see, outcome addiction ties your peace to a shape you have chosen in advance. That choice becomes your idol, and then you petition, and then you time the petition, and then you assess God by the clock. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Wait does not mean delay something you want. Wait means stand without outlining. The seed in the earth does not report its progress to the impatient gardener. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Do not dig up your seed to prove to yourself that you planted it. Now we must be uncompromising, especially where sentiment tries to rule. Sometimes a separation is very spiritual. Let's have it. If spiritual harmony can only appear through a parting of partners, of employments, of cherished projects, let it be. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Not punishment, purification. If a business must close to end the worship of numerals, let it. If a friendship must pause to end the theater of mutual defense, let it. If a ministry must be silenced for a season so that the minister will stop rehearsing sermons to God, let it. Except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. The dying there is the yielding of your outcome and its timetable, and only then does life multiply in forms you did not design. Principle over personalities. Do not take sides with the form you love or against the form you fear. Your allegiance is to the activity of spirit, not to win-loss columns. If the one that engaged you wants to lose, that is his business. Your business is to behold spiritual activity without reaction, Judge not according to the appearance, including the appearance called success. The world's success can be bondage. The world's loss can be freedom. Only Spirit knows. Not my will, but thine be done. Say it, yes, but more stand in it until the taste of your preferred outcome fades and the sweetness of his replaces it. Make it plain. When you feel the hand in your chest that says, hurry this through, show me a sign by sundown, answer softly, no. No emergency, no bargain, no stopwatch. I withdraw my worship from this outcome. I will not improve the picture. I will witness spiritual activity, then keep silence long enough for a breath in which thought cannot follow. In that breath, the case passes from your jurisdiction. Do not peek. Do not check the weather. Do not open the email to see if God performed. Let God have its perfect work. Divine timing is not delay. It is order. Saul of Tarsus did not step from revelation to platform in an afternoon. There were years of inward unlearning before the trumpet sounded. Do not time your freedom by the sun. Let maturity bring to light, and when it does, the form that appears will be God's form, not yours, and therefore it will not need your defense. Now, when the case feels stubborn, when the panic returns in loops, when the compulsion taps your shoulder at midnight, do not increase mental effort. Do not sharpen arguments. Do not add verses as leverage. This kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. And the fasting here is strict, a fasting from reaction, from outcomes, from words about God. We will take that up next. For now, release the handle. Outcome belongs to the one who is before and beyond form. Stand without a side. Let God have its perfect work, even if what appears to pass away is the very thing you once called your life. In that surrender, life, real life, appears where bargaining used to be. All right? When it keeps coming back, when the heart pounds at 3 a.m. as if someone knocked on the inside of your ribs, when a memory intrudes with courtroom precision, when grief rises unannounced and wets the pillow again, do not condemn yourself. Don't call yourself unspiritual. Don't make a second problem out of the first by judging your recurrence. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus. You see, the returning wave is not your authority, it is an appearance. And the appearance would love to bait you into self-accusation because then it gains a double hold. Refuse the bait. This is a universal belief surfacing in cycles. It is not a verdict on you. Now here is the deeper requirement, and it is not harder thinking. It is prayer and fasting. Not fasting of food unless you are led, but fasting of mind. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Fasting for our work is the withdrawal from rehearsing the story, the diagnosis, the theology, and the improvement plan. Stop quoting verses to push back the dark. Stop explaining your history to yourself at 2 a.m. Stop outlining how brave you will be tomorrow. Stop trying to manage the scene with polished truth. Don't turn to God for anything, not even for peace, because that turns God into a tool for a second power. God isn't mind. Nobody knows what God is. What, then, is prayer here? Silence. The holding still until the inner click announces itself, even for a breath with no reason attached. So when the wave returns, do not tighten into argument. Sit up if you must. Place your bare feet on the floor of this moment and do nothing. Be still and know that I am God. No petition. No name for the sensation. No rehearsed courage. One breath, then another, each without commentary. Let the story starve. Let the diagnosis sit outside your door without a plate. Let theology rest on its shelf. Let your improvement campaign furl its banners. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Not returning to effort, returning to the room within where thought cannot follow. You will say, but Joel, nothing is happening. Good. Nothing is precisely what breaks the trade route between you and the appearance. The mind will beg to help. It will offer you brilliant sentences, kindly decline. Fasting means you let those sentences pass too. Prayer means you abide until the click, sometimes a thimbleful, sometimes a basin, of presence is felt without words. Do not time it. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Let maturity bring to light. I can tell you what has happened in those who have given themselves to this. A woman in Los Angeles wrote that for years panic owned her nights. She fought it with verses and lost sleep and dignity. She began this fasting. The first week, nothing seemed to change except that she stopped rehearsing her obituary in the dark. The second week, the panic still arrived, but it found less furniture in the room, no arguments, no calendars, no vows. The third week, there was a click one night, no longer than a sigh, and the panic did not have a handle. It attempted return, yes, but her refusal to feed it had become practiced. The wave hit a shore that did not argue, and it broke without a show. No fireworks, no testimony meeting, just sleep. Months later, a real-world jolt came, a family illness, and she wrote again, I didn't bargain or time God. I stood, and the steps given were so quiet I almost missed them. We came through, and I never had to pay the old tax of terror. That is fruit. A man in Maui, troubled by an old betrayal, had turned his wound into a lecture series he delivered nightly to himself. He fasted from the lecture. Each time the memory arrived dressed for court, he answered, no side, no story, no defense. He sat until the click. In a season, not a day, the sting drained from the picture. The facts remained, the worship ended. He could meet the very person without heat, and no virtue signaling was required. He had simply lost his appetite for prosecution. Do you see the pattern? When reaction keeps returning, the work is not more speech but less, not wider arguments but narrower doors. Prayer and fasting, fasting from reaction, from words about God, from managing outcomes. Prayer as the silent resting until presence says I ends the economy that fed the fear. And then the changes are not theater, they are quiet. The intervals between waves lengthen, the spikes shorten, the hand in the chest is answered, not I, but Christ, and the body believes it because there is no longer an inner courtroom to keep the case alive. Hold to this. Stand without a side. Let God have its perfect work, and watch how the stubborn thing, denied attention, denies you nothing. It simply passes. All right, you have asked, and rightly, how shall I know this is taking root? If I am not measuring outcomes, what is the evidence? The Master spared us there. By their fruits ye shall know them. Not by their fireworks, not by headlines, by fruit, quiet, edible, sustaining. And the first fruit is simple to miss because it isn't noisy, fewer spirals. The same wind rises, yes, but it spends itself sooner because you do not open your sails of argument. Where once you would give an hour, now it is 10 minutes. Where once 10 minutes, now the length of a breath. That shortening is not your triumph. It is the weakening of your allegiance to a second power. Do you see that? The problem did not gain dignity. It lost a worshiper. Then there is quicker recovery. You find that an old sting can still touch the skin of the day, but it cannot appoint itself your governor. The email lands and the chest warms, and instead of writing speeches to the dark, you stand one breath in silence and sleep the night. Morning yields a clean sentence, if any is needed, without theater, a soft answer, and the whole episode closes like a door quietly pulled to. In the body, the tremor that once meant terror becomes weather sensation without a story. Perfect love casteth out fear, not by sermon, by non-reaction to the sensation. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in you, because you have given him no hook of panic to tug. You will notice, too, that decision's clear, not because you built a brilliant matrix, but because you stopped auditioning your fears for the lead role. In the room where you neither desire nor dread a particular outcome, an exact step rises, unhurried, accurate, and strangely modest. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. That confidence is not swagger, it is the absence of hurry. Money choices simplify. You stop buying your future with worry. Health steps are chosen cleanly without theater. Relationships soften not by managing another's tone, but by refusing to take sides, even your own. The heat goes out of old grievances, not by burying them, but by withdrawing your worship from their courts. And reputation? The sting may visit, it does not rule. You discover you can be misunderstood for a season without building a rescue tower, and peace remains because identity is Christ, not applause. Now do not look at your demonstration day by day. Fruit ripens by seasons, not by hourly reports. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. You would not pry open the peach to help it sweeten. You would not demand of the vineyard that it skip winter. Let patience have her perfect work. Saul of Tarsus did not move from light to lecture overnight. There were silent years in Arabia when the inner structures melted. If you find that you are still visited by the old visitor, do not declare failure. Maturity often means the visitor returns but cannot find a chair. The proof, then, is not in never feeling a wave. The proof is that the wave no longer commands your reaction. You have learned the exit, refuse the emergency, refuse to change the appearance, enter the breath where thought cannot follow, and let the one do the works. In time you will read your own letters to yourself, quiet ones. You will realize a month passed without the old noon collapse, or that a conversation long dreaded dissolved without a scene. You will watch as your calendar becomes less crowded with repairs because fewer plates are being thrown in the first place. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. These are not performances. They are temperatures of a room where no argument is being staged. Let this be your validation. The intervals between storms lengthen, and when the cloud forms, you know how to stand. That is enough. Don't time it. Don't hire God for speed. Let God have its perfect work. And to keep this from becoming a weekend virtue and a weekday amnesia, we will fix a small rule of life that you can carry in your pocket, 4 steps, spare and repeatable, that will hold you on the middle path where neither fear, love, nor hate, any appearance can rule you. We will take it up now. It is as simple as you think and as exacting as you need. Stop, refuse, rest, and let it pass. Now the rule, plain and spare, to carry in your pocket and practice until it becomes the way you breathe. Stop, refuse, rest, let it pass. That is all, and that is enough. Stop reacting. When the thing rises, email, body sensation, rumor, bill, do not let it draft you into war. Stop means a full halt inside before any word is sent or any counsel is rehearsed. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stillness precedes seeing. You cannot watch the sea part if you are thrashing in it. Refuse to enter the case humanly. No sides, no villains, no saints. Don't label, don't advise. Don't defend your name. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment here is refusal. It is the holiness of not choosing a human side, even if one side hired you. Principle over personalities, you see. Not even your personality gets a seat in this courtroom. Do not desire to change the appearance. That desire is the hidden cord that keeps you tied to it. As long as you are trying to improve the picture, you are confessing that the picture has power. Let the urge to fix drop out of your hands. Not my will, but thine be done. Don't turn to God for anything, not even a better outlook. Let God be the solution. I, God, am the solution to all problems. Rest in silence. This is prayer without words. Take one breath in which thought cannot follow, then another if it offers itself. No petition, no verse as leverage. Be still and know that I am God. God isn't mind. Nobody knows what God is. And it is precisely because we cannot define God that we can only contact God in silence. That split second is your door. Let it pass. Let the wave break without you riding it to shore. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in you, when you have given it no reaction, no argument, no bargain. Let God have its perfect work. Outcomes belong where outcomes were born, in the realm of spirit, not your stopwatch. Here is your drill for the very next anxious thought. It arrives, name it quietly, appearance, and stop. Do not argue, do not explain, do not fix. Whisper, if anything, be not afraid, it is I. Not as magic, but as recognition that presence is here. Put your feet on the floor of this moment and take one unhurried breath. Let the breath end on its own. In that ending, rest one heartbeat longer in silence, then return to presence. Not I, but Christ. If a step is given, it will be small and clean. If none is given, do nothing and let it pass. Now set your expectation rightly. You are not trying to win a war or to conquer thought. You are learning to stand in the middle path where we neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Each time you practice, you shorten the alliance with panic. Each time you stop, refuse, rest, and let it pass, you close another trade route between your attention and the appearance. Do not measure this day by day. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Let patience have her perfect work. Let maturity bring to light. If the old visitor returns, you haven't failed. You have another holy chance to give it no chair. Make this a rule of life. Morning, say it before the day puts on its costume. Stop, refuse, rest, let it pass. Noon, when heat rises in the chest, say it again without drama. Night, before sleep, release your cases from your jurisdiction. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Confidence, there is the absence of hurry, not the presence of swagger. And when you forget, and you will do not sign a confession of guilt, simply begin again the moment you remember. The middle path is not narrow from scarcity, it is narrow from simplicity. One step wide, non-reaction, then the silence, then the click, then the step, if any, given from the one who does the works. You see? All right. We leave it there, practice the non-reaction, and let the silence do its work.